Welcome, everyone. I am Debbie Lee Flores, and today we are talking about something that I know a lot of small businesses, nonprofits, and community groups are experimenting with a whole lot right now, and that's using AI to create social media graphics. Listen, I get it. AI tools can be super helpful. They save time, they give you good starting points, and they can especially help when you don't have a huge marketing budget or a full creative team. But some of these AI flyers and social graphics are just doing way too much. Too many words, colors, icons, calls to action, too many things fighting for our attention at once. And so this training is not about shaming anyone for using AI. It is about helping you to use AI better. So we're going to walk through 5 ways to apply real graphic and marketing best practices to AI generated social media content so that your posts are cleaner, more useful, and strategic. Before jumping in, let me introduce myself quickly. I am a communications strategist, and I help organizations communicate with more clarity, strategy, and purpose so that their message actually connects with and moves people to action. I've got nearly 20 years of experience across communications, marketing, content strategy, and brand development. My work has included nonprofit, small business, community orgs, healthcare, clean energy, SaaS. If you can think of it, I've probably worked in it over the last 20 or so years. And a lot of what I do is help teams take big ideas, complex programs, or meaningful community work and translate that into messaging that people can understand and connect with. That includes websites, campaigns, brand voice, training, and of course, social media content. And this training came from real questions that I've been hearing from clients and community partners who are trying to use AI well. Because the issue isn't usually that people don't have good intentions. The issue is that they're using a powerful tool without understanding the strategic work that has to go behind your prompts. What am I talking about? You know exactly what I'm talking about. You've seen graphics just like this before. They might stop your scroll because they are loud. They're colorful. They've got a lot going on. But once you actually try to process the information, it gets overwhelming, to say the least. It's just too much. Too many words, visuals, actions. It's just too much. And I want to be super clear here. AI isn't the problem. The problem is that we're giving AI a brain dump instead of a useful direction. We put every detail, every idea, every offer, every note, every possible audience, everything into AI and say, hey, can you give me a graphic for this? And AI says, sure, and then gives us something that looks crazy, like these. And that is exactly what we want to avoid. What are we talking about? AI slop. We've heard that phrase floating around everywhere now. What are we talking about? AI slop, you might think, oh yeah, that's when those like videos have those really cheesy voiceovers that you really know are not human, or when you see those post captions that have like 86 emojis in them and 15 M dashes, which for the record, I love me an M dash, but you know, AI's got to slow it down a little bit. Again, giving it good prompts, right? But not everything that is made with AI is bad. And I want to say it clearly because I don't believe that AI is automatically creating low quality content. But when people complain about AI slop, they're usually talking about the content that feels generic, cluttered, overproduced, hard to read. Because even if something looks bright or impressive at the first glance, it still has to serve the person who's supposed to engage with it. Can they understand it quickly? Do they know what the main point is? Do they know what to do next? Does it build trust? And if the answer to any of those things is no, your graphics aren't doing their job. AI didn't ruin your graphics, though. The absence of strategy did. And I want to be super, super clear about one thing, in case you haven't picked up on it yet. I am not at all anti-AI. I use AI all the time for my own business, for workflows and graphics even, and all kinds of things. But it's a tool. And like any tool, the results will always depend on how you use it. If you're prompting it vaguely, you're going to get a vague result. If your prompt is just like a brain dump, you're going to get a chaotic result. But better prompts give AI context, purpose, audience, format, and design roles. That's the difference. If you ask AI to make a flyer for my event and it has to guess what kind of flyer for what audience or what platform, it's not going to do a really great job. But if you tell AI the purpose of your post, your audience, where you're posting it, and your primary message and call to action, you're much more likely to get something that is usable. The issue isn't, again, that AI exists, is that we're using it without a clear strategy or guide. Before we get into the 5 rules that I want to share with you for better prompts, I want to clear up 3 things that you absolutely need to know before you prompt. First, a print flyer and a social media graphic are not the same thing. A print flyer is supposed to do a lot more work. It's going to hold more details because people are going to be reading it up close, holding it in their hands or looking at it like a bulletin board. A social media graphic has to work much faster than that. It's got to stop the scroll and communicate the main idea to move people to the next step. Second, size matters. AI needs to know what type of graphic you're creating. Is it for Instagram? Is it for Facebook, LinkedIn, a story, a square post, a YouTube cover? If you don't define the platform size and placement, AI may give you something that looks fine in the preview, but falls apart when you get it posted. And third, your caption counts. The graphic doesn't need to say everything. You can use your caption for details, links, context, reminders, and the full call to action. That means that your graphic can focus on the main message instead of trying to carry every piece of information by itself. Now, let's turn those social media best practices into smarter prompts for your AI tools. Rule 1. This is a big one, guys. One post, one job. Say it with me now. One post, one job. Too many choices create decision friction. When you give people multiple directions, a lot of times they won't do anything. So before you create the graphic, ask yourself, what is this post supposed to do? Do you want people to register, comment, save, share, click, buy, whatever that is? They're not the same goal. And if one graphic is trying to do 5 things at once, your audience might not know which matters most. This applies to whether your post is a single image or a carousel. The post should still have one clear goal. When you prompt AI, tell it the primary objective, the one call to action, what to include and what not to include. For example, instead of saying, make me a flyer for this event, you might say, create a social media graphic where the main goal is to get people to register. The primary call to action says, register today. Don't include sponsor details, right? Like, this is how detailed our prompts are going to get. And it's going to help. That kind of direction helps your AI understand the job of your post better. Next, our next best practice rule, build a visual hierarchy. Everything can't be the headline. Y'all, we're trying to pack in too much in a headline. A design should guide the viewer's eye from the most important information to the next step. People should be able to understand what the main message is in a few seconds. This is where a lot of AI graphics go wrong. AI might treat the event, name, date, locations, price, speaker names, QR codes, everything. It's going to treat them like they deserve the same amount of visual attention, but they don't. Some information is primary, some is secondary, some belongs in a caption or on a registration page. So your prompt needs to define the order of importance. Tell AI what's text is in the headline. What are details that are secondary? That, your example, again, make the event title the largest text, make this date and location secondary, keep the call to action clear but smaller than the title, right? Like, don't make everything the same size. You literally want to give an AI tool very specific instructions so that you get a very clear result. Moving right along, rule number 3, design for recognition. This is a big one, guys. People recognize what they see consistently. Your social posts should feel connected to your brand, not like a new personality every time AI makes something. That doesn't mean that every post has to look identical, but people should at least be able to feel the same connection between your graphics over time. That includes your color palette, font direction, graphic style, tone. This is especially important for small business, nonprofits, and community organizations because consistency builds trust over time. If every graphic looks like it came from a different organization, you are making your audience work harder to recognize you. So when you prompt AI, don't just give it a vibe. AI needs brand rules, not just a vibe. And 4, limit your visual components. Strong design uses a limited set of visual elements that work together. Too many competing elements make the design hard to understand. You don't need 5 fonts, 10 icons, 3 textures, stock photos, sparkles, badges, QR codes. All this stuff doesn't need to be there fighting for attention. And I know it sounds funny, but we've all seen the graphics like that, right? The problem isn't just that they look busy. The problem is that your audience doesn't know where to look. More visual components that get added, the more chaotic your graphic is going to feel. So when you're prompting AI, be sure to give it clear instructions about what visual elements are primary, like we talked about before, and which styles and iconography and all that stuff belong here and what doesn't belong here. For example, use no more than 2 fonts, 3 colors, or even you say, hey, this is the particular font that we use. We use Poppins for bold, and we use this other one for whatever. Give it clear instructions, and it's a much better prompt than you just saying, hey, make this eye-catching, right? Because eye-catching doesn't always mean effective. And our final rule of our 5 best practice rules is always protect your brand. Your brand assets aren't just decorations, logos, custom characters, trademarked artwork. They're all recognizable visual systems that are part of how your brand is known and trusted. And this is where we have to be especially thoughtful with AI. You see, the difference between an AI tool and hiring or contracting a designer or a comms person to help you with things like this is that a contracted designer can work under an agreement that defines confidentiality, ownership, usage, rights, and final asset delivery. That means that you can have NDAs, you can have, asset promises that, hey, anything that I make while I'm working under contract with you belongs to you, right? Like those things are part of contracting a professional. But AI tools do not automatically create the same ownership relationship. So protected proprietary assets need extra care. That doesn't mean you can never use AI for brand adjacent work. It just means you need to be careful about what you upload and what you ask AI to recreate. When you prompt AI, you want to give it directions such as colors, tone, layout, general style, but limit the recreation or imitation of protected brand assets like your logo. For example, a prompt might look like use our brand colors and a clean layout, but do not recreate the custom logo or color, or leave space where our team can add official branding manually. And again, this is one thing where sometimes if you're a small business owner that doesn't necessarily have a budget to hire a designer, like, darn, like I have a logo, but like I can't hire a designer every time I want my logo added on here. It can be simple. You've given, again, based on all the information here, you've given it size instruction, you've given it direction instruction. And I have a really solid graphic. You've told it, hey, leave a space at the bottom or the top or wherever you need that so I can put my logo in there. And you can just use a tool like Canva. Or, if you're more familiar with other tools, honestly, you can even use like Google Slides or PowerPoint if you're not that familiar with other tools. But like Canva is a really great and affordable tool you can use to do that. And so I highly recommend always withholding your logo and not uploading that so that you can have control over that and make sure that there's no recreation that takes away your ownership of a piece of art. Here we go, guys. We're going to wrap this up. Better AI starts with better direction. We're going to bring this together for you guys. AI can help you move faster, but speed only helps when the strategy is clear. Before you prompt, you've got to define the purpose of your post, define your visual priorities, define your brand rules, define your design boundaries, because AI tools can save you time and resources, especially for small teams and limited budgets. But they work best when they are paired with clear strategic direction. And that is the big idea behind this entire training. Better graphics don't start with a magic prompt. They start with a clear decision about what a graphic needs to do, who it needs to reach, and how it needs to guide people towards the next step. Strategy first, tools second, always. Well, we are at the end here, guys. So thanks so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. If this training helped you to think differently about AI graphics, social media posts, or how you guide creative tools, I'd love to stay connected. You can schedule a strategy session with me if you want help cleaning up your graphics, clarifying your content direction, or building a stronger communication system for your organization or business. And if you want to support free educational content like this, you can buy me a coffee and help keep practical communications education accessible. My goal with this work is simple: better strategy, better prompts, better content. Because when we communicate with more clarity and purpose, good work becomes easier to understand, support, and sustain. All right.